Have you missed out on all those exclusive Godzilla figures? Don't worry anymore. Big Bad Toy Store has you covered with all the latest Godzilla figures that you can possibly imagine. Good example, they have the Hiya figure, which is an exclusive figure, and many more like X Plus, Monster Arts, Prime One Studios. In general, the possibilities are endless, such as Transformers, Jurassic World, Star Wars. Use my link in the description down below to shop there. Thank you for watching. Now enjoy the video.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private comment.
Hello everyone, I'm RubiGamingx. Today I'll be reviewing the Godzilla 2022 from Godzilla vs. Kong from Hiya. Now this figure out of the box has totally amazed me. This marks the first figure from Hiya to attempt to do a Godzilla figure, and I must admit it's a pretty damn impressive figure overall. It captures the essence of Godzilla and the overall design really well, and you can tell that it's well made because it looks beefy. That's the first thing that I've noticed. It actually looks like Godzilla. He looks like a monster that's powerful, that has some muscle behind all those arms, the thighs, and his body. You can tell it has some power and weight to it. The overall sculpture is pretty damn amazing. The colors on this figure are beyond amazing. They did a really fantastic job with the dry brush. You can see the browns in between the details on this figure. It really helps out this figure pop out with the details throughout its body. I also noticed that on the tail it has a sort of white type of dry brush, almost to make the figure look like a dirty type of color, like it's been in combat, it's been in a city with multiple battles. But the one thing I think we can all agree are the eyes. They look fantastic, absolutely the best eyes on any Godzilla figure that we've seen from NECA, Monster Arts, and even other bigger companies out there. They look really outstanding. Absolutely, they capture the color of Godzilla. It's really impressive how they were able to capture such fine details on the eyes, because that's really hard for any company to get correctly. We had multiple tries with other companies and they always seem to mess up, or the eyes are not defined enough to tell what the expression is. But I feel like this Godzilla really expresses that menacing look, powerful, evil look. You can see that this is a monster you don't want to mess with. Now, if you look throughout the body, it does have different types of details and they feel different. Around the legs and the tail, you have this rusty type of a texture that feels like rock or something unique that I haven't seen with other figures. Usually they do have details, but not really defined as this Hiya Godzilla. I gotta say, I love the details throughout this figure. They really did a fantastic job. With that being said, articulation is not on the level of monster art yet, but for me, that I've had some time to play with both figures, test and see their ups and downs, I would have to say that this figure offers a great amount of articulation, enough that you don't really notice that you're missing articulation compared to monster art. It has enough articulation to do any type of pose if you get creative enough, if you know how to pose your figure here and there. You don't really need crazy types of articulation like we see with monster art if the poses work correctly. Another thing to say, and a big deal, is the size. This is much bigger compared to NECA in monster art. It also has really nice details for the price that you're paying for this figure. Keep in mind, it's $49.99 plus shipping. Not a bad deal. Articulation for me is decent, I would have to say. Details are really amazing. The paint job is also phenomenal. This figure is almost perfect. Obviously, there's some problems here and there. Obviously, we can all agree that we did not expect to see that big circle around the mouth area. That was something that Hiya cleverly didn't market to us, the consumers, with the prototype. And obviously, it's not perfect. As you see, in certain poses, you do lose that sort of perfect figure without no gaps. You start to realize the issues with this figure, that in certain poses you see a lots of gaps around the head, around the neck area, and I think Hiya could have done a little bit of a better job hiding those gaps. If they could have engineered more neck pieces to really hide them and just integrate them inside this piece that you're seeing right there, that could have easily prevented this big wide gap that you do see, which looks pretty damn distracting and awful in certain poses. When Godzilla looks to the left or right, it does not look right, but in the other direction, I have to say it looks really clean, really beautiful. And from all the Godzillas out there, I would have to say that this is currently my favorite Godzilla figure out there that has articulation, and I think all of us, or most of us, can agree that it's way better than NECA, better in some ways than monster arts. Obviously, monster arts is still unbeatable in terms of articulation. That's their thing. But what Hiya really did is it took the best of both worlds. It took the best of articulation, it took the best of design with a clean paint job with no issues, no fish eye, no derpy eyes. They really tried to do their best to offer a quality figure at a right price, not too expensive, not too low, but offering still quality and details to the customers to deliver a really outstanding, solid Godzilla figure. This also opens up a lot of opportunities for young fans and new fans out there that haven't collected monster arts because they're too expensive. I would have to say Hiya is a perfect opportunity, a perfect entrance for any Godzilla fan out there to have a decent size Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan with decent amount of articulation and details. The paint job is really phenomenal, and I really do hope they keep this type of work and fantastic paint job throughout the future with other figures, and don't lose the touch getting lazy like other companies. I really do hope that they listen to the feedback from fans, they watch reviews, and really do improve with later releases, with special color versions or other variants out there. I think Hiya right now has a very bright future. On screen, you're going to see a comparison with other figures, but I want to touch on the topic of improvements with this figure. The obvious one would have to be the neck articulation. If there's any way to modify and improve this figure for future releases, definitely the neck area needs a big upgrade to look more natural without those really bad, nasty looking gaps. Second of all, the mouth area can use a big improvement to hide the obvious circle. That can be toned down a little bit smaller. My final thoughts with this figure, it's really solid. It's probably the closest figure that we've seen to a perfected Godzilla in terms of design, paint job, articulation, and size. Really outstanding job, Hiya. This is RubiGamingx. I'm out.